Okay, so this is our last 5 problems on this unit review. So let's look at number 16. Okay, this time we're subtracting, so we still have to get a common denominator, and you'll notice this one is k minus 3 and this one is 5k plus 1. So we're going to have both of those in our common denominator. So over here we're going to multiply by 5k plus 1 on top and bottom. And on this side we're going to multiply by k minus 3 on top and bottom. Okay, so that's going to give us 3 times 5, that's 15k, and then 3 times 1 would be a positive 3. Now here we're going to have to be careful. So if you need to, let's do 2k times k, that's 2k squared, and then 2k times negative 3 would be a negative 6k. But notice you got this minus out here. So it's going to be a minus 2k squared, and then these two negatives will make that a positive 6k over our common denominator, 5k plus 1 times k minus 3. Okay, we only have 1k squared, so we're going to write that one down, negative 2k squared. But we have a 15k and a 6k, which we can make 21k, and then we still have the plus 3. And it's all over our common denominator. All right, if we look up here, you can see that choice C, that's 21k plus 3 minus 2k squared over our common denominator. So the answer there is C. For number 17, we have k minus 2 and 3 as denominators, so we're going to have both of those in our denominator. So over here, we're going to multiply by 3 on top and bottom, and here we're going to multiply by k minus 2 on top and bottom. Now notice this is subtraction again, so we have to be careful. 3 times k, that's 3k. 3 times 1, that's a plus 3. So if you need to, there's a minus here. Let's go ahead and distribute first. 6k times k is 6k squared, and 6k times negative 2 is a negative 12k. All right, so minus 6k squared, and then plus, because two negatives make that positive, plus 12k. And it's all over our common denominator, 3 times k minus 2. All right, let's see what we can put together. We have a negative 6k squared. Then we have a 3k and a 12k, which would be 15k, and plus 3. Okay, we're all over 3 times k minus 2. Now notice that all of these have a 3 in common. So we can pull out a 3. That would leave us with negative 2k squared plus 5k plus 1. And it's all over our common denominator. The reason we wanted to take that 3 out is because now those 3's will cancel. So we're just left with negative 2k squared plus 5k plus 1 over k minus 2. And if you look up here, you'll notice that that is choice C. So our answer is C there. Okay? For number 18, solve each equation and remember to check for extraneous solutions. So for this one, I need to solve by hand. All right, so that's a V. It's as simple as it gets. V squared plus V, I could make V times V plus 1. And then V plus 1 is as simple as it gets. So you can see that in our denominators here, the things that they have in common is that V times V plus 1. So we're going to multiply each thing by V times V plus 1. Each one of them. Okay, so if we do it to all of them, we can do that. All right, now here, these V's are going to cancel. So we're multiplying V plus 1 times 2V plus 8. When you do that, that'd be 2V squared plus 8V plus 2V would be a plus 10V, and then plus 8, because 1 times 8 is 8. All right, this is going to cancel the entire thing, so this is going to be minus V minus 2. You got to distribute that minus sign to it. Equals, all right, the V plus 1s are going to cancel, and so 1 times V is V. Okay, now let's put together what we can over here on this side. This would be 2V squared plus 10V minus V would be a plus 9v. And plus 8 minus 2 would be a plus 6. And we're still equal to v. Now I'm going to move that v, so I'm going to subtract v and move it over here. I'm going to come up here, guys, to continue this problem. So 2v squared, 9 minus 1, that would be a positive 8v, plus 6 equals 0, because v minus v would be 0. All right, all three of these have a 2 in common, so I can pull that out. That'll leave me with v squared plus 4v plus 3. And then we need to factor this. So two things that we can multiply to get positive 3, and when we add them, we get positive 4. That's going to be a plus 3 and a plus 1. So this would be v plus 3 times v plus 1 equals 0. All right, now you set each of these equal to 0. V plus 3 equals 0. V plus 1 equals 0. This one will give you v equals negative 3. This one will give you v equals negative 1. Okay, we check back up here to see if I put in negative 3, it's okay there. I won't get 0. If I put in negative 3, it's okay there. Negative 3 squared would be 9, minus 3 would be 6, and then negative 3 plus 1 would be a negative 2. So this one works. That's an answer. Let's check negative 1. If I put it here, that's fine, it works. Negative 1 squared, that's a 1, plus a negative 1. So 1 minus 1, that would give us 0. So this one is not a solution. That one doesn't work. So our only answer is v equals negative 3, which is choice C. All right, for number 19, notice this denominator is a 3. This denominator I can factor as 3 times x minus 1. And this denominator we can factor as, let's see here, this would be 3. We can pull out a 3, which would leave me with x squared minus 4x plus 3. And then this will factor to 3 times, I'm going to come over here to the side for a second. I need to get a positive 3 and a negative 4. So that's going to be negative 3, negative 1. So this is x minus 3, x minus 1. So I'm going to mark that out so you don't get confused. This one down here is what it factors to. So let's see what we've got. We've got a 3, and a 3. So we know that 3 is part of our, what we say they have in common. We have an x minus 1 and an x minus 1, so that's part of it. And then we also have this x minus 3. So we're multiplying all three of these by 3 times x minus 1 times x minus 3. We're multiplying all of them by that. Okay? All right. These 3's are going to cancel. So here, this is x minus 1 times x minus 3. Well, I know what that is because I just factored that. X minus 1 times x minus 3 is x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay? Equals. All right, this time, those cancel. So we're just left with x minus 3. And then in this one, all of that cancels. So we're just left with plus x plus 1. Okay, so let's see what we can combine. Over here, we can't combine anything. But on this side, x plus x would be 2x. And minus 3 plus 1 would be negative 2. X plus x is 2x. Minus 3 plus 1 is negative 2. All right, now I'm going to move both of these over here. So minus 2x plus 2. Minus 2x plus 2. They cancel here. So x squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0. Now we need to factor. So I need to get a positive 5 and a negative 6. So it's going to be minus 5 and minus 1. This is x minus 5 times x minus 1 equals 0. Set each piece equal to 0. X minus 5 equals 0. X minus 1 equals 0. This one gives us x equals 5. This one gives us x equals 1. Now let's go back and see if they work. If I put in 5 here, 3 times 5 is 15 minus 3 is 12, so that works. I'm going to actually put in 5 here in this factored form because that's easier. 5 minus 1, that's 4. 5 minus 3 is 2. 4 times 2 would be 8. 8 times 3 would be 24, so that works. So x equals 5 does work. What if we put in 1? Okay, right here, 1 minus 1. That is 0. So 1 minus 1 is 0. That does not work. 1 minus 1. So this one is not a solution. So our only solution is x equals 5, and your answer is choice C. Okay, last one. And for this one, we graph it. So we need to get this equal to 0 in order to graph. So what I'm going to do is move this one over. Instead of moving both of these over to the left, I'm going to move this one over to the right. So we're going to have 1 over p squared minus 25 minus p minus 6 over p minus 5. And this is positive, so if I move it over, it's going to become negative. 1 over p plus 5, and that's all equal to 0. Okay, we're going to go to Desmos and type that in. So let's go to Desmos. And we're typing in 1 over, you have to use x's here, x squared minus 25, okay, minus, okay, x minus 6, and be sure you put that in parentheses, over x minus 5, and then arrow over, and then minus 1 over x plus 5. Okay, we look for our gray dots on the x-axis. They are here and here. So we get two answers, x equals negative 6 and x equals positive 6. So if we go back here, it's that p equals positive or negative 6. So you can see here that our answer is choice A. Choice A is our answer. All right, guys, as always, if you have questions, let me know.